Hello. So today we wanted to discuss about what is the role of a chartered accountant in information technology. So what is the kind of career aspirations that you can harbor if you've got a fascination for this field of technology, and therefore based on request on my previous YouTube video on professional opportunities for chartered accountant, where some of the people specifically asked for my inputs on this. Here's Anurag, and I am here because I love to share the little bit I know. And you can follow this YouTube channel to know more about me and the kind of stuff that I keep generating. So, the IT revolution has affected the chartered accountancy profession in a big way. A chartered accountant who is having a strong functional experience in terms of his knowledge of accountancy, taxation, costing, as well as IT knowledge. So this is one skill that you need to actually learn, because fundamentally it is not just about knowing MS Office and Windows, but rather SQL or Java in some way, not as a coder but as an end user. So you need to good to know kind of a thing needs to be done. So chartered accountants can therefore play a very important role in bridging IT professionals and business people. So it's like acting as an interpreter who understands a bit of the IT professional's jargon, a bit of the business person's jargon, and helps them work seamlessly to create magic. So therefore chartered accountants can add tremendous value to IT system design and development. So we can just to set some basics in place, like there are service companies where chartered accountants can work, like Infosys or Accenture, which will work into, let's say, ERP implementation at State Bank of India. So State Bank of India is the client and these companies will work as service providers. Versus there are product companies which will sell a product in the market, not a service. For example, SAP will have a product of its license of SAP, a Tally which will develop a GST module and will want people to buy that module, or Intuit which is for QuickBooks. So there can be some businesses which are B2B in nature, like Oracle or Cognizant, and there will be some businesses which are B2C in nature, for example Google or Flipkart, where the end customer is you, me and everyone in our individual capacities. It can be on-premise, where Microsoft enabled products will be residing on your computer's hard disk, versus cloud-based products where the data resides on the remote server of the person. So these are some basic things which one needs to understand: service, product, B2B, B2C, on-premise, cloud. Now CAs with logical thinking, which I'm sure you must be having, good management and leadership skills are highly valued in an IT organization, considering its unique nature of work. The skill sets can be either IT user skills, which is like how to use an ERP on a basic thing. So you can be an end user of information technology and help the organization understand how it can leverage IT to its advantage, or you can have IT provider skills. Now this does not come in the course, a basic knowledge of SQL, Visual Basic, business objects, etc. But yes, on the work front, a lot of things actually can be learned. For example, I have learned a lot about mining equipment on my work front. That's fine. You cannot allow yourself to get limited by the boundaries which your books have set. Real world teaches you a lot more. One of the most fascinating fields is this field of data and big data, where there is so much of data which is around, like your emails, what you've clicked, your social media history, where have you been, your location history, the images that you've posted, sensor has got. So any bit and piece of information which is recorded and stored. Big data is a scientific field of information analysis wherein the following processes are a part: data identification, data source identification, data storage, data categorization, and then data analytics, reporting, and life of data. So basically what they are trying to do is to funnelize this humongous quantum of data into some actionable intelligence for a business so that the business can improve upon its profitability. The highest placement in my campus at IIM Ahmedabad had gone to a guy who had worked in big data prior to his coming for the MBA, and he joined again Accenture in the US, because this is huge. There is so much data that is going to be generated, in fact is being generated and is being captured, some terabytes of data. Can you actually gain actionable insights based out of it? So how it works is that you have a self-service drag and drop interface to have created data flows. So teradatas of data get into the thing, and then you kind of analyze data and then create some insights. Now, where do CAs fit in the big data analytics story? So big data pre-implementation preparation, where this particular software needs to be implemented, a chartered accountant has its play. The framework design, where he will look at what exactly is the organization looking for from the framework. The design of dashboards, reports and visuals, where he will understand and suggest that what exactly should be the output from the big data dashboard, what exactly will be the actionables. And then big data assurance, whether the controls over generation and analysis of big data are in place, because the organization actually will depend heavily on big data for its business. So this 4 areas: pre-implementation, framework design, design of dashboards and assurance, typical to chartered accountants, but then used in a very glamorized industry today, so that you can actually swim with the tide. So it's like a lot of data generated from your YouTube, HTML, your WhatsApp history, Twitter, and then gaining actionable intelligence on the path to profitability. So CAs plus big data analytics, you can, for example, understand and help the organization that this is the kind of dashboard I want from the humongous quantum of data. So you might have 100 GB of data, and all the organization wants is a big data sample dashboard where it looks at what is the hit growth, what is the revenue growth, item sold growth, revenue, item sold, etc., etc., based on the organization's requirement. It is here because CAs, and then you can select the particular quarter. In the world of Gorka and Gecko, want another chance? Then stop sending me information, start getting me some. So people today do not want huge quantum of data. They say, okay, give me 5 sentences, what can I act upon and improve the organization? So think out of the box, because CAs are exposed to a variety of business in course of a 3-year articleship and post qualification. So we know how data is generated, analyzed, and we worked on MIS reports. We've got a lot of knowledge, and therefore CA will be one of the crucial persons to provide solution to a company to implement big data analytics. Now the other 6 pillars where we can work is enterprise resource planning, information systems, information system audit, GRC, IT security and business consulting. Have a look at this. Information technologies, one of the biggest areas where chartered accountants and cost accountants for that matter can play a role is ERP, where in addition to being just a user of an ERP, so I might join a Tata Steel and work on SAP FI module to in course of my daily accounting process, or I can join a Deloitte and go to a bank and look at the ERP and do a computer assisted audit techniques. I can also play a significant role in the implementation of the ERP package. The domain knowledge that I have with respect to finance, accounts, MIS helps me contribute immensely in this area. Now, as a functional consultant in ERP implementation, a chartered accountant can perform various activities, like they can help clients understand what exactly do they want. Process mapping, so how does the data flow, where is it generated, where is it stored, configuration. User acceptance testing, so once I implement SAP, I will have to get a sign off from the end user department. Here chartered accountants can understand both worlds, the technician's role world as well as that of the end user, and therefore they represent users more effectively. So they can be very good business analysts, understanding what exactly is the need They can advise management about what are the areas of improvement. There is this classic terminology called bullet proofing of requirement analysis, where someone might have, okay, I want this, I want that, I want that, I want specific bullets with respect to what exactly you want. So that's how it works. Process mapping, trying to understand where exactly does the process work and therefore where will IT intervene. BPR, which is again a very sexy word, but yeah, it is actually used in real world. Like chartered accountant can be very good where the organization needs to justify the IT cost. So there will be proposals which will be made that okay, we are spending 4 crore rupees on SAP implementation. What will be the value analysis for us? Like where will the value accrue to the organization over the period of the software use? And therefore it's like simple capital budgeting. Evaluation of software tools. So do I need an Oracle platform? Do I need an SAP platform for this? Is there a customized ERP that needs to be delivered? So CAs play a role here. They can give inputs in software designing in terms of what should be the output, the reports, etc. Testing, implementation and training. So these are the things that a chartered accountant can be responsible for. Now IS audit is like where you act like a typical auditor, but the thing is that there are a host of these systems which are now under scrutiny because of SOX 404 compliance. Your data, your network security, digital signature, EDI, encryption, decryption protocols, etc. Sounds a lot of Latin and Greek in case you have not studied that, a bit of it. But idea is that in information technology frameworks in organizations, the entire systems makes the organization very vulnerable. You've seen the recent malware attacks and all. So IT audit in terms of the information system audit will ensure that there are adequate controls. I'll give you a simple example, digital signature. Now you can sign a $2 billion bid on behalf of the organization because your digital signature is mapped on the website of MSTC, which is conducting the auction for Government of India. Now someone who has got access to this digital signature might simply quote a crazy number, sign it off with your digital signature because all he needs to do is to insert the digital signature in the USB port and put in the pin and the bid gets accepted. Now later you cannot contest that I had not bid for this. So IS auditors have to understand where are the risks, how is it being managed, what is the security controls and so forth. And they also need to be understanding about this entire software development life cycle, which is called SDLC. IT audits, I can tell you like one classic example that I have, that in case of banks, there was this classic fraud methodology that was being used where someone would do a credit of 10 rupees in a NPA account and then at the end of the month reverse that credit, and when the system runs a jQuery, it picks only those transactions where accounts where there are no credits. Now this particular account has got a credit of 10 rupees and therefore escapes the scrutiny of that jQuery run. That's where I'm sorry, not jQuery, SQL query run. So that was how fraud was being perpetuated, and that's how chartered accountants have to work completely in association with the system guys to ensure that wherever leakages are identified, they can actually act promptly and plug those gaps. GRC, now governance, risk and compliance is a huge area because of the US Sarbanes-Oxley Act and the need of US listed companies to design governance controls for SOX compliance. Now that was the trigger for it, SOX. But subsequently people realized that if you have an effective governance, risk and compliance framework, you can actually add business value because you are streamlining the manner in which business is being conducted. So you are kind of streamlining your operational decision making and your strategic planning. So CAs can help in process audit, in compliance, and therefore are well positioned to implement, monitor and functionally maintain GRC tools, governance, risk and compliance. You'll have a lot of companies in the KPO space like Deloitte and Grant Thornton working on a lot of this space. So what they do is actually they lead organizations by driving technology enabled and automated GRC transformation. Now it should not happen that vouching verification when happens becomes a complete manual process. You need to go and search for those files for the vouchers. Can you automate that entire thing so that the system will give you a trail of when the purchase requisition was given, when the PO was raised, who were the three parties which quoted, who was L1, and then how did you raise the PO, when were goods received, when did the party raise the invoice, when did you pay, was a good received, note prepared, a quality check done. Everything should be given by with the help of IT. So you create improve visibility of enterprise risk and how these are mitigated. You lower the cost of risk management through reduction of manual processes and increase efficiencies through standardization, simplification, automation, and end-to-end process centralization. See, unless you actually do this, all of this will sound a bit of very heavy and gibberish in nature, that another chapter from ISCA. But now that I have actually worked in the real life, these things actually create value in an organization. When you automate a lot of things which were done manually in the past, you save time across the value chain. So GRC is a great area where chartered accountants can work. Information security, because today wealth that is now targeted is information. Your IT systems are most important. So you've seen that recent malware attacks where so many organizations actually paid those hackers. So it's no longer a rocket science. Hacking is a science, and a chartered accountant can be a very good IT security practitioner because of his or her knowledge of business processes, understanding IT controls, and technical knowledge. There are a host of IS regulations which are in place. So again, it's like understanding Companies Act. You understand these regulations and see whether your organization adheres to these organizational regulations, your security and risk mitigation plan, etc. So basically you are trying to act as a gatekeeper for the entire host of information that is generated, and organizations are today very vulnerable. So for example, British Airways, their systems crashed for the last 2 days and thousands of people were stranded at various airports because of this system collapse. So as a professional, you can actually proactively look for possible triggers of such collapse and help the organization save itself from such kind of a mess. You can look at anyone who's been inconvenienced by this British Airways collapse of IT systems will never ever fly British Airways given a choice. So it's like a huge loss to the brand also, apart from the operational hassle. So that's where information security works. Fraud risk assessment, typically very good field for chartered accountants, because now frauds have also become far more sophisticated. To unearth any fraud in the organization, one should understand the internal processes, where are the systems in place, statistical models where you can actually analyze data and find out variances, a bit of big data into this basically. So fraud risk assessment is a role where chartered accountants fit in very well because of our historical background. And then business consulting. So within an organization, as a user, you can advise clients, which is your basically stakeholders, or you can also start a practice and help clients understand how process improvements can be done, how productivity can be enhanced, cost can be optimized, etc. For example, compliance management tools. So today a lot of chartered accountants have adopted these IT systems to help them file TDS returns and IT returns, and I've seen such systems in action, very seamless. They will help me extract my 26 AS data seamlessly from the IT site, and then they will fill my past year data within the new form. All these utilities which are used by the department for uploading of returns, all of these are compliance management tools. So I have a friend who has actually worked in the ERP space. So he's quit a handsome paying job at Infosys after a stint at Deloitte, and then he's worked on Tally ERP. Today he's a practitioner and helps SMEs come up with how they can actually use Tally ERP to their advantage. So typically in India, people use this cracked version of Tally for basic accounting, but they do not know that if ERP is in place, what are the kind of controls? So for example, a simple example that comes to my mind is that in ERP you cannot make an entry and then delete it. There will be a trail which will be there, and you can create one level of control that in case my accountant wants to delete a particular entry, he will have to escalate this to his or her reporting manager. Once that is approved, only then this will be deleted. So there's a trail in the system. Compare this with the erstwhile Tally. Anything can happen. There is no control. You make an entry, you delete. I used to go for auditing to some small time Marwadi companies. So I said this is not a good transaction. It does not have supporting. He said delete kar dijiye. I mean, your accounts are being audited. We'll finalize accounts and there is no such control. So that's where ERP solutions, you need to go to SMEs and help them understand the value of a control so that their accountants and cashiers do not create mess in the form of frauds. Someone can do a paper trading in an organization. You use the ERP framework to give credit notes to your competitors and help the organization land up in a mess. So small organizations so you are not targeting the Infosys and the ITCs and the Tata Cs of the world, but small and medium enterprises with turnover, let's say 50 crores, 100 crores. Now with GST, a lot of opportunities have emerged because because of GSTN, that is the GS tax network, GST tax frame network. IT will play a major role in helping organizations comply with the GST because there will be like a transaction level matching between a buyer and the seller. That can happen only if effective IT controls are in place. So my friends, this is where business consulting also plays a huge role, and other areas will be BPOs, banking, insurance, software like Finacle, e-governance projects. Government of India, by the way, is spending billions of dollars to bring IT as an enabler to governance. You'll see Bengal, by the way, ranks amongst one of the highest ranked states in IT governance. And CS can also play a major role in the finance, tax and accounting function of any organization. And can you do some courses? Yes, you can offer post-qualification courses offered by ICI, such as Information Systems Audit is one course. There is a course on CAAT. There are ERP courses on SAP, FI and MM module. And then you can attend a CPE seminar, for example, cloud computing opportunities and challenges for chartered accountant. Thanks. If you got any questions, please leave a query in the comment section below and I shall be happy to answer. Thank you.